What's up, fight fans? It's been an absolutely crazy 48 hours for me. Crazy. I wanted to film for ages. I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in Zimbabwe right now, commentating on a boxing event over there, which I'm just gutted I'm not there. Gutted. But man, so much personal shit has happened that I couldn't go. And it's weird, and this is why, honestly, when I say I appreciate everyone that tunes in, I really do, because I've been doing these videos for years. So guys that watching this channel, had another channel called Box Talk, and me and Ryan, this is a bit boring, right? But me and Ryan, who was my co-guy on Box Talk, we never did videos for numbers. Honest truth. Everyone used to say, oh my God, you guys should get more numbers, you guys are so good. You're one of the best on YouTube, if not the best. I think people used to compare us to like Hatman Strikes Back as one and two, because we used to just give it honest. And we said, oh my God, how can you only get 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, sometimes 10, 20, whatever, but you should be getting 100,000. We said we never did it with numbers. We actually did it because we love doing it. It almost, for me though, it was almost liberating. So any stress I would have, I would want to film. Anything going on in my life, I want to film, because it's almost a way of just releasing and forgetting what's going on, just to kind of record on the camera for those few minutes. So thank you everyone that does watch and tune in, much appreciated. Thank you. All right, I'm not going to get into it, but let's just start talking boxing. All right, so as you know, the video is titled Floyd Mayweather. It's two things really. Is this the most important fight for Floyd Mayweather? Is this the biggest fight for Floyd Mayweather? And when I was typing this on Twitter, it's strange, right? Because Floyd Mayweather's 49-0. He's fought 47 people. He's the richest boxer ever in the history of boxing. He's one of the most accomplished, if not the most accomplished boxer. He's probably in the top 15, 20 best boxers of all time. You can make an argument for Floyd being in the top 10. You really can. If someone was to really sit you down, people might say, yeah, he dodged people, he didn't fight people at certain times. But trust me, guys, as someone that has studied boxing for years, every one of your favorite fighters done that. Everyone. Even those guys you think, oh, I would fight anyone, everyone strategically kind of picked someone. I think Ali's probably the exception, but a lot of fighters did it. Even Ali to an extent did it. And that's probably another video of fighters that he probably didn't take when he should have taken them. So you can make an argument for Floyd being top 10. Floyd has had tremendous fights. Castillo was a massive fight 2 times. Diego Corrales was a big fight. Arturo Gatti, for different reasons, was a big fight, elevated him to be a pay-per-view star. Oscar De La Hoya took him to superstardom, almost that like passing the baton fight. Manny Pacquiao was the biggest fight of all time, 4.4 million pay-per-view buys. By the way, that 4.4 million pay-per-view buys, guys, is just in the US. I think people keep saying that number, 4.4 million, 4.4 million. I don't think, and I think I've read this, I don't think it takes into account Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia. I don't think it takes that into account. I could be wrong, but I don't think it does. Shane Mosley was a massive fight. Canelo was the guy that Oscar was basically saying, Oscar chucked him Mosley, Oscar chucked him Ortiz, Canelo was the one he was going to beat. So Floyd's been in some huge fights. Every boxer says your next fight's the most important, the next fight's the most... It doesn't mean your next fight's the biggest, but the next fight's the most important. And it's weird. I'm not bought into the fact that McGregor's going to beat Floyd. Absolutely not. But then you almost wouldn't be a proper pundit, journalist, whatever I am now, if you didn't think the worst could happen. And I say the worst, but the worst for Floyd, Floyd's team, Floyd's fans. I am one of them, but I'm also a Conor fan as well. And I was thinking, how much would it ruin Floyd's legacy? Not if Conor won, just if even Conor land won and wobbled him. We're talking about Floyd's leg just wobbling. And that made me think, this could be his biggest fight of all time. For example, look, if Mosley staggered him, everyone keeps hearing about Mosley staggered him, Cotto blooded him up a bit. Oscar was a very tough fight. Most people, that was a split, most people forget that. But those are all allowed because you're fighting elite boxers, you're fighting guys that are going to go down in the Hall of Fame. He's fighting a boxing novice. Forget the name Conor McGregor for a second, right? Just think of it as, okay, if someone told you it's an MMA guy, he's very good, but he's an MMA and he's basically going to try and learn proper boxing in 4 months, right? He's going to learn proper boxing in 4 months. He's fighting Floyd, the greatest of all time, greatest of this generation. If he wobbles Floyd, questions will be asked, which is why I think this is Floyd's most important fight of his career. He has never been up against someone that talks the way Conor talks. Conor has talked smack. He's took the word smack to another level. He has talked so much smack, and Floyd has been, every boxing aficionado has literally said that Floyd should be winning this fight in the 3rd or 2nd round. Literally, it goes 2 rounds, Floyd kind of adjusts. Might have a few problems in terms of Conor's stance, but then he adjusts and destroys Floyd. If he does not do that, boy, I don't think the pressure has been on Floyd like this ever. Ever. Floyd's favourite to win all his fights. Always is. Even earlier on in his career, he's always favourite to win his fights. But the fact is, he's normally fighting a world champion, a guy that maybe fought for a title, a guy that is in the top 5 or 6 in their weight division. So there's an excuse if someone lands one, catches one, which they don't often do, but there's an excuse to it, right? He's fighting a great and elite boxer. Yes, he's fought some duds. Carlos Boldemir was a dud. I think Ortiz, to an extent, was a dud. Now I can go through the rest. There's been loads of duds in there. But nonetheless, they're good boxers. They're boxers that have been doing it since they were 7 or 8 years old. They are trained boxers. He's fighting a guy now that literally has been training a few months. So is this his most important fight? Absolutely. Absolutely. Is this his biggest fight? No. His biggest fight, and I think many people might disagree, but for me, Floyd's biggest fight in terms of Floyd, the persona, in terms of Floyd becoming the big superstar, it was Oscar De La Hoya. That was Floyd Mayweather's biggest fight. Oscar, albeit not the Oscar at that time, I think Oscar's probably a couple of years past his prime, was still the biggest pay-per-view star out there. The biggest. Oscar was huge. Oscar was getting shitloads of money, was golden boy, it was everything. And Floyd, in order for Floyd to beat him, in order for Floyd to become the superstar he's become, he had to beat Oscar. He had to kind of get that baton. So he had to become the next big superstar of pay-per-view. And he did. He beat Oscar. If he didn't, there would be no big Showtime contract. There would be no whatever there is now. There wouldn't be. I think prior to the Oscar fight, I think Floyd's biggest purse might have been about, I think, $7 or $8 million, which is huge. Huge. Could be wrong. I'm trying to think in my head who fought before Oscar, Gatti around that, but it could have been about $7 or $8 million. I think for the Oscar fight, he got 20 or something like that, and then it just literally went and went and went and went and went. That was Floyd's most important fight. People might point to fights before that as most important in terms of Floyd winning his first world title, in terms of Floyd maybe beating Diego Corrales, which is a big fight. But for me, the most important fight Floyd's ever had is Oscar De La Hoya. This is very close. This is extremely important. Sorry, this is a huge fight, but I think Oscar was the biggest fight. I think this Conor McGregor is the most important fight. But yeah, that's my opinion. What do you guys think? Leave your comments below.